Good morning, everybody. What a wild, wild morning this is. It's been raining, it's been sleeting, it's been snowing, and just the time I need my sheep and goats to be out, what do you think they're doing? They're staying inside their barn, except for one solitary goat out there. And why am I lamenting that? It's because we have a passage coming up this Sunday, Christ the King Sunday, that comes from one of the Old Testament prophets, and they talk about sheep and goats. So, you know what? Because of the way that the weather has been wild and it messed up my posting yesterday because of the windstorm that took out my power and also my internet access. Hey, instead of Testy Tuesday, which was yesterday, how about right now we do Written Exam Wednesday? Written Exam Wednesday. So, this is it. I'm going to read a passage, and I want you to tell me which prophet it came from. Are you ready? For thus says the Lord God, I myself will search out for my sheep and will seek them out. As shepherds seek out their flocks when they are among their scattered sheep, so I will seek out my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places to which they've been scattered on a day of clouds and thick darkness. So, which Old Testament prophet spoke those words, speaking the words of Yahweh to the people? Was it Isaiah? Was it Jeremiah? Was it Ezekiel? Or was it Amos? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos. This is a tough one. In fact, you're probably just going to make your best guess, right? Hey, how did you used to do that whenever you were taking a written exam? You take, like true and false, you take your two fingers like this and hit it down real hard, and whichever one did, like the one finger would be true and this one would be false, and hey, just do it. Who do you think said those words? The answer is the crazy one. I mean, the absolutely crazy one. The crazy prophet Ezekiel, the one who has all these really weird visions, the one who does really weird stuff as he does his prophesying. He was talking to the people as they were about to go into exile, and when they did go into exile. He was carried off with probably that first wave of exiles to Babylon in the early part of the 6th century BC. And he was there. The neat thing about him was he gave not only a word of warning to the people, and by then it was too late. Babylon came in and kind of wiped them out. But he also gave a word of hope. Right here, these are words of hope. He's talking about the shepherds who have failed in their job to watch over the flock, which is the Hebrew people. They haven't done their job. He's speaking about the kings. Although in other places, it could be that he's speaking about the priests and all those in charge of the religious affairs. And in other places, he even is talking about the people themselves. Very, very harsh words of judgment came just before this. The word of the Lord came to me, mortal, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, to the shepherds, thus says the Lord, ah, you shepherds of Israel who have been feeding yourselves, should not shepherds feed the sheep? You eat the fat, you clothe yourselves with the wool, you slaughter the fatlings, but you don't feed the sheep. He goes on in that vein. And a little bit later, he has this to say about the sheep themselves. The sheep themselves kind of fall into the same patterns that the shepherd has done. Therefore, thus says the Lord God to them, meaning the sheep and the goats and all them, I myself will judge between the fat sheep and the lean sheep, because you pushed with flank and shoulder and butted at the weak animals with your horns until you scattered them far and wide. I will save my flock, and they shall no longer be ravaged, and I will judge between sheep and sheep. And he also talks about doing the judgment between sheep and rams and goats and all that kind of stuff. Now, the real reason I wanted to have my animals out here, and it's just sleeting like crazy right now, so they don't want to be out here. I don't know if you can see that sleet coming down. I'm recording this on Tuesday morning, but it's kind of nasty out, and the wind picks up a little bit and it kind of smacks you in the face. But they don't want to be out in this stuff either. They're headed for the barn. But that's the attitude that a lot of sheep and goats have. They butt each other. I go to feed them in the morning, and it's wild and crazy. They're fighting to get to the food. It's like, come on, guys, there's plenty here. Why don't you learn to share? But evidently, the people of Israel, they themselves were picking up on the attitudes of the king and those in authority over them, those who abuse their authority instead of caring for and nurturing. And there's another passage that talks about you failed to heal them, you failed to give them food and comfort. Instead of doing that, they're fighting for every last little scrap, and they're butting each other, and the ones who suffer the most are the most vulnerable and those who are weaker. That's why this word of Ezekiel came to the people. But the good news part of it is what we first read. God himself is going to set himself up as their shepherd, and he is going to make things right. He's going to bring them comfort and peace and hope and security. And a little bit later, in the lesson that we'll be reading this Sunday, we will see another promise coming forth, that he will set up a real good shepherd, a human shepherd in their place. This shepherd would be David. David's long gone and dead. What do you mean, David? No, a shepherd in the line of David. And of course, this being Christ the King Sunday, who are we talking about as God's people living in New Testament times now? We're talking about Jesus himself, who even referred to himself as the great shepherd of the sheep. Okay, how about the good shepherd? The good shepherd too. So there's a lot going on in this passage. It's really a cool one. It's got both judgment, but also a strong word of hope. Hope that we need in these trying times as well. So God's blessings be with you. Battle out these few little snowflakes coming down in this sleet, and some raindrops mixed in there too. It's not going to last long. It's going to get a little bit warmer up this way by the end of the week. In fact, the long-range forecast looks like 50-degree weather probably right through Thanksgiving. Cool. God's blessings be with you. Have an awesome day.